Okay, I'm here with Ariel from Hivemapper and super excited to have you guys as part of our ecosystem. And, you guys are doing something really cool stuff with, mapping and creating some new maps using the Helium Network. So we have Solana Breakpoint coming up this week in Lisbon, and you guys, I believe, have a pretty cool announcement that I'll let you talk about. But real quick, Ariel, can you just start out, if people don't know about Hivemapper, can you give a quick TLDR of like your position there, what Hivemapper is, how you guys started, kind of, 30-second elevator pitch there?
Sure. So I'm CEO, co-founder of the company. We started way back when in 2015, 2016.
Oh, wow.
Been quite the journey. Maybe a little bit similar to Helium in the sense of we're kind of building out this mapping software. So I'm a mapping geek, I guess, I was a Yahoo Maps back in the day. So it's really when I first fell in love with maps and started to really understand like how crazy expensive it was to be building out these global maps. And what that basically lent itself to was the fact, the position that we find ourselves in today, right? Where there's really just one major global tech company that owns the majority of location data and maps worldwide. And, if you're a developer, right, and you're trying to integrate maps into your product in some form or fashion, the default is Google Maps. So there's like 4 to 5 million software developers who pay Google Maps, like everybody from Uber and FedEx and Airbnb and Yelp and you name it, to many, many others that you probably never heard of. And so even if you never use Google Maps on your phone, which many of you do, you are still interacting with Google Maps. And the reason for that is just it's very, very expensive to build a map. And so what we're doing is kind of similar to Helium, is utilizing this community and crypto-based incentive to say, look, if you're going to be helping us build a global map by going out there and collecting data with this Dashcam, which I'll get to in a second, then you can be building effectively kind of quasi ownership in this decentralized global map. And that's really important because in the mapping industry, historically, all the data that was being collected by these contributors was being collected for free. So let's just take the example of Waze, right? You use Waze, I probably use Waze at some point in my life, and we're contributing into Waze, right? Whether we know it or not, we're helping them build their map by just running their application, right? They're taking all of our location data and using that location data to build the map.
Gotcha.
Additionally, there's about 20 to 30,000 people sitting behind a desk manually editing and tweaking and annotating this map called Waze. So when Waze sold, to Google for $1.2 billion, the map would not exist without people like you and I driving around with it, or those 25,000 people sitting behind a desk. So all the employees made out fine, right? All the investors made out fine, but the people who actually built the map and contributed to the map, without them, there'd be zero. I don't know, maybe they got a Google t-shirt, right? That's about it. And so I felt like that was wrong, right? And I saw what Helium was building and I was like, ooh, this model is more fair, right? It's just fundamentally more fair to the people who are actually building and doing something. And so fast forward today, on November 3rd, we're launching the Hivemapper network. And so what does that mean? Okay, that means is you'll be able to buy a dash cam. This is one of the dash cams. I'll open it up in a moment. Mount it in your car, drive around with the dash cam, just like you normally would, right? So we don't want people going out there, driving just to drive to map.
Yeah.
Like if you're already out there going and driving, then great, right? But if you're not driving, A, don't buy the dash cam, right? Or B, don't go out there in addition to what you normally drive.
Yeah.
And then all that imagery and location data makes its way back up to Hivemapper. We then take all of that imagery and location data, transform that into data products that B2B business customers then buy from Hivemapper.
Gotcha.
So I'll pause there, but that's effectively what we're doing.
No, that's really cool. I mean, as a non-map geek, so the opposite of you, I guess. I haven't studied maps and stuff. I guess I didn't realize, how much went into actually the building of those maps and, all the behind the scenes stuff. So it's really cool to just be able to, for people like me to learn about like how it works, and be part of that now with a dash cam in our car. So like you said, November 3rd, you're launching these dash cams, right? And you're doing that. Kind of, do you have an announcement planned in Lisbon around the launch, things like that?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, so we're doing a big talk. We're going to be launching there. So the network goes live on Thursday. The Solana conference Breakpoint starts Friday. So we have a couple of different talking and speaking events at the Solana Breakpoint. Hivemapper is built on top of Solana. They've been great partners in this process. Working with them has been tremendous. And the other cool thing is, in terms of Hivemapper dash cams. So let me show you the dash cam. So
that was going to be my next thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So come November 3rd, you'll be able to buy the dash cam. You can already pre-order it right now. And then we've already started to ship, and we're going to be accelerating the shipments. You'll be able to map anywhere and earn honey tokens.
Okay.
So let me see if I can get this right in terms of the camera position here. So
looks good. Yeah.
this is the box. That's what's inside of the box. So there's 3 things that are inside the box. So obviously the camera itself. There's the camera. I'll get back to that in a moment.
Okay.
The power cord, so you can, it connects to the camera here, and then just put into your cigarette lighter, and then a handy mount as well. So this mount is really good, right? It sticks. It's good. The entire setup process takes roughly 10 to 15 minutes, so it's pretty quick. You also have to have an iPhone or Android device that you then connect to the dash cam. So this is the front of the dash cam. This is the back of the dash cam. So you're going to be just sitting in your car every day. You're going to be looking at this.
Okay.
Most of the time. You're going to mount. There's 2 supported mounts. So there's a mount that's forward facing, which a lot of people will probably do. This is great for Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. Many of them already have to buy a dash cam.
Yeah.
And there's a side mounted facing basically the sidewalk in the buildings.
Okay.
So those are the 2 supported mounts. Inside of this dash cam is support for the Helium Network. And this is really cool. So we know, because we've kind of run these type of networks before with dash cams, etc., is shocker, people try to pretend like they're collecting in, let's say, San Francisco on Van Ness.
Yeah.
When in fact they're in rural Kansas or rural Brazil or somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And so what do? We use the Helium network. And basically what happens is, let's say I'm driving down Van Ness, San Francisco. I'm recording, or the dash cam is recording all of the hot spots that it has seen, okay? And then let's say you're coming, an hour behind me on Van Ness as well. It will also, your dash cam will also say, here's all the hotspots that I've seen on Van Ness, okay? In San Francisco. And then what we'll basically do is say, okay, did Ariel and Jacob see the same hotspots? If not, one of them is potentially up to no good.
Oh,
right?
wow. Okay. Yeah.
And so that's kind of the location verification mechanism that we use the Helium hotspot for. And so that's the first use case. We will probably over time add additional use cases on top of it. So let's say the app has not connected to the dash cam in a long time. We may want to know the status of this dash cam. Is it still active? Is it, what's going on with it? Maybe there's some customer support data that we would like from it. So because this dash cam can connect to Helium and then transfer data about the diagnostics of this device without ever connecting to your app, your iOS, or sorry, your iPhone or your Android device, that's another kind of method where we can get, real-time information about the health of this specific device. That's not in there right now. That's second use case. The first use case, the location verification one is, and that's incredibly valuable, right? I mean, the value of that just jumps off because every customer comes to us okay, how can we know as a customer the data that we trust this data, right? And it's a really important capability.
Very cool. No, I know. I mean, a lot of people just at the company where I'm working, at Nova are excited about they have these on pre-order. They're ready for them to come out and start mapping, So, you talked a little bit about, you mentioned an incentive system and you think in mind, what is it? The honey token? Is that right? Yeah. So talk a little bit about your customers and just how they kind of benefit from this, in addition to kind of owning that mapping data.
Yeah. Before I talk about the customers, which are really important, I would be totally remiss if I forgot. I totally forgot about this use case, but this is a really important use case. Helium mapping community, they go out there and they're basically providing like data coverage as to like, what is the LoRa network or the IoT network, I think is what you guys call it now, of the Helium network. And so historically, people would buy these devices. A really smart, clever guy by the name of Joey Hiller, I think, has created a lot of these devices.
Yes.
And it's been this like passion project that has been seen a tremendous success. So what we're working with Joey and the Helium Foundation to do is ensure that these devices can also be used for helium mapping, right?
Very cool.
Enabling, there's some kind of additional privacy things that we want them to do, just like, to protect the privacy of all these contributors, but that's definitely also going to happen, right? So if you're active in the helium mapping community, you buy one of these devices, it's kind of a 2-for-1. You're doing helium mapping, you're using the Helium network, and you're also helping build the next global map of the world.
That's awesome. No, love that. Very cool. And yeah, Joey's kind of at the helm of the mapping community there. So yeah.
Okay, so customers. So look, customers are really important, right? Like obviously I know a lot of the customers in this world. Like, it will take time to build out all of the various APIs, right, that somebody like a Google Maps has and sells to businesses. That will take some time. But we already have, at launch, an API called the Map Image API that customers can buy. And, that part of our business looks like any normal B2B, business in the world, right? So, you go out there, you have, very technical kind of salespeople working with customers, understanding their problems, helping them deploy these solutions and stuff like that. So one of the this is a customer that is, let's say, very, very big in the automotive and mapping world. There will be a whole press release around them.
Good teaser though, yeah.
They're going to purchase the Map Image API data product. Okay. And we're really excited to work with them because they immediately saw the value of the coverage, but maybe more importantly is the refresh rate, right? Like as a customer, you want to not only see that, yes, does Hivemapper have coverage, but you want to be confident that when I come back, 3 months from now and 6 months from now and 9 months from now, and I want to hit that API again and again and again, that Hivemapper will continue to maintain that map, right? It's really hard to build a map once, I said, but it's almost impossible to build it, and maintain it and refresh it, right? That's really the hard part. And so I think they saw what was happening there in terms of the refresh rates, and they're like, that's interesting, right? And the only way we're able to get those refresh rates is by actually making the experience for the contributors really easy and really passive, right? And I think that's very much kudos to the Helium, like what you guys did with the hotspots. It was like, you spend whatever, 10, 15, 20 minutes setting it up, not even that much.
Yeah, you plug it in and go.
Yeah, you plug it in, you connect it to your app, you're done, right? Like that was just like this magical moment where it's like, look, no matter what, the token price and all that other kind of craziness like doesn't make that much of a difference because it's so easy, right? And so we always said like our experience needs to just be easy. Like there's already enough cars on the road, right? And there's already enough drivers on the road. There's already even enough dash cams on the road. Just like if we can make that entire mapping experience super easy, then like we'll get the refresh rates that the customers really care about.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. Yeah, excited to see that press release for that unnamed partner there that you're going to work with, unnamed customer. So these launch officially November 3rd, you said. If people haven't already been to the website and pre-ordered and things like that, like what's the best way for people to purchase? Is there going to be, should they go to your website? Is there socials going out? Is there a number of different ways they can get to it? Look at that. There you go.
Yeah. So so on November 3rd, this coming Thursday, this will basically hit buy now.
Okay.
And then we'll start to fulfill all of the pre-orders first, obviously, like, paying respect and homage to all those people who pre-ordered.
Yeah.
And then your purchase would then go after all the pre-orders are fulfilled. So right now, where like if you were to buy one on November 3rd, we think that we'll probably be able to deliver that to you late December, early January timeframe.
Okay.
We'll start to give people more precise shipping dates on probably the second week of November, right? In terms of like, if probably November 15th, we'll say, okay, boom, you ordered on November 15th, here's your specific shipping week as an example. But yeah, here, you can learn all about the dash cam, you can learn all about the specs, kind of how it works and stuff like that. People will have dash cams, by November 3rd out there in the real world. So I'm sure you'll be hearing, different things from different people in terms of how it works and all that kind of stuff. And it'll just continuously get better and better and better.
Awesome. And is this the best way, like if they have questions or anything, like to contact you? Is it through the website or contact Hivemapper? Anything like that?
Yeah, you can, hi at Hivemapper.com is a super easy way to get in touch with us if you have any questions. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, all that kind of stuff as well. There's a big community of folks. So any of those methods work.
Okay, perfect. Actually, the Discord thing was my last question for that. Just I know Discord's a really big resource for our community. So you guys have a Discord that people can, join and kind of talk about this stuff with.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a big Discord community, about 5,000 people right now. Cool. In addition to like all the main channels, like if you're from, let's say, Portugal, and Portuguese is your native tongue, and you want to be able to communicate in Portuguese, there's a whole bunch of people in that channel. So yeah, so now the community is big enough where you're starting to see it break down by countries and languages as well.
Awesome. All right, Ariel, I want to be kind of mindful of time here and make sure, we're not going too long, but this is super cool. And I know, like I said, a lot of people that I know are excited about these dash cams coming out and launching. So it's been kind of a really cool, exciting buildup for November 3rd. And we're here this week. So do you have any last things you want to plug or anything like that before we end this and you get ready for that launch date?
No, I think it would just be fun to see like all the, a lot of the Helium people who are out there, like being able to see the Helium map grow and grow and grow from a coverage perspective was super exciting.
Yeah.
On the Explorer. And so kind of seeing that same kind of, bringing this map to life is really, really cool. And there's a lot of customers that are very eager to kind of see that growth. I talk to these customers every single day. And so, when you're producing the map and you're growing the map, feeling good about the fact that like, hey, there's some people on the other side who really need this data.
For sure. Yeah. And, if my experience is anything like it's going to be for you, like people are going to be checking that map growing every 5 seconds, and seeing all different places things are popping up. But yeah, that's definitely exciting. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Super excited for this. And definitely everyone will hear more from Helium and Hivemapper in the near future as these dash cams kind of roll out.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Talk later.
Later.